Well, good morning, boys and girls. I'm being a domestic goddess and doing dishes because Mammy ain't home. She's coming home today. Thank God, I miss her. Me and her is like peas and carrots. It's like I miss her bad when she ain't here. But anyway, I didn't make many dishes, but I made a few, so I'm cleaning them up so she don't have to deal with it. She probably won't get home till dinner time, so I'll clean the kitchen up like a good old fart, you know. But anyway, went karaokeing last night. Had a good time. It was a karaoke party. But no, I mean, whatever. It was fun. Sung a few songs that we didn't know. I tried to get a video of a couple, but this thing, my tablet, you get it close to the loudspeakers and it sounds like crap, and I sound like crap anyway because I got a cold, a little bit of one, you know. So you didn't miss much. I'll try and get a video some other time when I'm in better form, but it was fun. So anyway, slept in a little, slept till 7:30 this morning, and actually slept pretty good. Got in about 12:30 or so. But I put that video up. I got a lot of response. First of all, sorry I lost it with them friggin' thieves, but I mean, I think everybody relates. Like all the comments have been right on, man. Just pisses you off. You know, you work so hard for stuff, and that it is true. I really should. My brother and a bunch of people said that. You know, just back the machine up against the door, and that's true. But what we did. You just get complacent, you know. You shouldn't have to really worry about that, you know what I mean, but whatever. You do, because there's scumbags out there. But anyway, we actually moved the landing quite a ways away from where the equipment trailers are parked in a nice spot up in the field, so it would require moving piece of equipment or a couple of them back there and blocking the doors, but that's something I have to do, obviously. Just do something different. I've done that in the past. It does work. You're going to get in unless they can move the equipment. But one guy commented about most of them are lazy. Well, that's true. But whatever. It's just a shame that a guy got to worry about it. It is what it is, you know. It's just a Harbor Freight generator. I don't know, $400 or $500 generator or something. It's not the end of the world. $400 or $500 worth of torches and tanks, and you know, it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's just inconvenience you, and now something else you got to run out and replace, and whatever. But I had that other generator stolen back in August. They broke into another round of scumbags. Little peckerheads broke into it out in Tyrone, PA. So live and learn. I guess I should. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, you know, farmland, and all that stuff. You know, nobody's ever bothered nothing. You just get complacent. So. A couple of comments. I got some real good comments on the forestry stuff, which is cool. I mean, it's a good discussion. It's interesting. I've heard back, you know, probably 25 different loggers, you know, responded, and every one of them said the same thing. You know, it's like the same thing. They're just high grading everything. Well, the thing is with the Forester deal, you know, I think I said that already, but it's follow the money type deal. And then another thing too, they will readily admit, well, if I put in too much low grade stuff, you know, the mills won't bid on it, and the price will go down, and you know, because they don't want to deal with all low grade junk, and that's fine. I understand that part of it, but I think as a forest professional, then it's up to you to tell the landowner that you should look for a logger such as me. And I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm about being competitive. I don't want anybody to, you know, get ripped off or anything else, but my idea on this would be, if I were a forester and I got pieces of ground like this to work, okay, or even good ground you're going to cut, you know, something that's got a good cut on it, I would explain to the landowner, look, I'll set this up, I'll find a good responsible logger, okay, such as me, but there's others, there's good guys out there, who will cut the junk and harvest the good logs too, because, you know, we like to make a little money on volume. You know, you cutting big logs, it's a lot, even if you're doing it on subcontract price, adds up a lot quicker than a bunch of gnarly brush, you know, pulpwood. So, because I'm not interested in going in and cleaning up everybody's crap after they're high grading something either, you know. If there was enough volume, I would, I do. But my point is, why not work with a logger? You can still be competitive on the saw logs. You just sell the saw logs to the highest bidder, the highest mill. But you get a conscientious logger who's got the equipment to handle this stuff, you know, and let the cable loggers and the hand fellers do the first cuts on nice big pieces. That's fine. You know, there's room. I'm not trying to hurt any other loggers. But when it comes to a piece like these pieces I've been discussing, it makes sense to me that why don't you deal with someone like me, mechanized, who can handle the whole thing and forget about the competitive crap. Negotiate a good, fair deal on the pulpwood and the junk and all the junk that needs to be taken out. Again, that does not pay the landowner well, but it does in the long run because it needs to be gotten out of the way. So why not make a negotiated deal on that? Still get your percentage. You really don't have to do anything as a forester, but maybe put the lines in, and, you know, get your property lines in and whatnot, and find and this stuff is starting to happen. You know, it's starting to catch hold. Find a good, reputable logger like myself. Explain to the landowner, hey, there ain't a lot of money in this junk. He's basically weeding your garden out, but he's going to pay you a little bit for the weeds he takes out. And get this stuff done. Everybody who's responded to that video yesterday, like I said, like 20 different loggers. Oh, it's the same way. The woods is full of junk. It's full of junk. It's full of junk. Well, it just goes back to what I said. You can't keep high grading all of the valuable timber out and not cutting any junk and expect it not to be full of junk. I mean, just, it's duh, you know? So, what I'm getting at, I guess, is something has to change here in this system. And I'm not bad-mouthing all the foresters. I didn't mean to do that. I'm not trying to hate on them. But I'm telling you, they had a field day, you know, 20, 25 years ago. They made money. And now it's time to maybe change the modus operandi a little bit. And I have worked with different foresters that will do this, you know. I've got to make money to keep this equipment and the guys running. So you've got to take a little bit less to correct these problems, but they need to be corrected, right? If not, they're just not, I mean, it's not going to be a sustainable amount of grade left. You know, right now, if we do this, you know, 40, 50 years from now, you're going to start seeing really nice grade. And I know that sounds like not a lot of time, but guys, when I first moved down here to Pennsylvania, me and Marv worked together, logging together, and we were cutting timber down here in Rural Valley, Pennsylvania. I couldn't believe it, because this stuff would be 120 years old in Rhode Island and Connecticut. And we were cutting timber, I'm talking 24, 26-inch DBH chest height, big, chunky red oak. And we're cutting the rings, 85 years. And this stuff was big. It was way bigger than it really needed to be. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that, my dang nose is running. But anyway, we were cutting, I mean, this stuff was bigger than, I mean, you know, you could harvest this stuff at, you know, 20, 22 inch, and it's nice to handle and whatever. I mean, this stuff was big. And I couldn't believe it when I counted the rings and stuff. It's just the growing conditions, and it's like that throughout a lot of the Mid-Atlantic. I mean, deep clay soils, you know, I know by taters out by Wade's, you know, they get into some good soils out there, and it just grows beautiful timber, and it grows it relatively fast. So, you know, I'm not too far off when I say, you know, 50, 60 years from scratch, you could be into some nice timber again. Well, the sooner we let this junk keep going, all I'm getting at is all you're doing is delaying a new forest. So my point is, get over the politically correctness of a clear cut or, you know, overstory removal. When I say clear cut, you don't have to wipe every little stick out, but you should cut all your undesirables, cut all your off species. I'm a big proponent of it. It just works. You know, the timber grows in nice, but leave some wildlife trees, some den trees. We always try and leave honeybee trees. If we know something's got honeybees in it, we try and leave it. I mean, you get one, but you get one once in a while, unfortunately, and we'll even try and like put the log somewhere where the bees can stay established. You know, I know that's important. You know, den trees, big old woofy tree that hollow or something makes a good roost for birds of prey, nesting trees, stuff like that. You know, obviously, you keep stuff like, it's easy to identify this stuff. And like if you got a great big one, what we'll do, because you don't want these huge shady canopies, so you get into like a big hollow tree that's shading out a bunch of stuff, we'll girdle it, okay, kill it, so it doesn't leave out, so the sunlight can get down through to the ground. But it'll still stay there for another 10, 15, 20 years for the critters to live in. You know what I mean? So we do that. There's lots of stuff to do like that. It's not rocket science. You know, it's not that difficult to figure out. And yeah, it needs to be done. You know. But what I'm getting at is something needs to change in the modus operandi of how this is going, because the results of what's been going on. It's good for me because I cut low grade and there's lots of low grade. The only thing is you've got to explain to the landowner who got $1,000 for a load of logs 15 or 20 years ago. You know, basically, I'm just speaking in relative terms, but you know, if he sold a load of grade, you know, that was a couple $1,000, $1,000 stuff, you know, whatever, and ends up with, you know, $1,000 for a load of logs. And then you've got to explain to him that a load of pulpwood is only going to be $3 or $4, maybe $5 a ton if it's really easy accessible. But these stuff on these hills, and it's brutal to get it out. It ain't worth $2, $3 a ton. That's all you can pay on it and make anything. So you got to explain to the landowner in a fair term, which somebody else had said, Blanchard had said about this. NJ, thanks for comments. You know, that this product just doesn't pay like logs, and we've been pretty successful in doing that. You know, I mean, a load of pulpwood, if you're lucky, you're going to get $1,000 when you get it to mill, and you're going to drive it 80 miles to get it there. So you take the trucking off of that. The logging, you know, if I can't make, you know, $600 a load to produce a tractor trailer load of product, no matter what it is, I can't make anything on it. I just can't. By the time I pay my guys, pay my insurance, pay my friggin' payments and fuel, I just can't. I have. So the thing is, I don't have a problem moving the low grade stuff. I've got good markets right now. The markets are back for our low grade stuff. I can move some guys. A couple of guys said, "Hey, what about firewood?" And I think Digby said that. Oh, geez, this guy's a buying for fire. I don't have. To be honest with you, firewood's kind of a pain in my butt, and here's why. Everything's based on the pulp production. Everything's based on a production level. If I send 20 loads of pulpwood a weekend, when we go on quotas again, which we will, you know, when things slow down and back up, then they base it on how many loads of wood you sent in. So if I sent 10 of those loads to the firewood guy and only sent a 10 load average into the pulp mill, then when we go to do a quota again, they're going to go, well, you only sent us 10 loads, so you can live with 4 or 5, okay? Well, if I send 20, they might say, hey, well, we'll give you 14 or 15. You know what I'm saying? So you see my logic there? I don't have a problem moving the stuff. I can move anything, any product, softwood, hemlock, I don't care what it is, I can move it. The problem is explaining to the landowners, isn't it? And this is where the foresters need to step up and start speaking the truth. Your junk needs to be cut, okay? However, it's not worth a whole lot. But you ought to settle for $100 a load for it and get it out of there. Be glad you got it, which still, by the way, can add up to a 100-acre tract. You might have $20,000, $30,000 worth of absolute junk on there. It could just go, and you're going to get paid to do it. But the benefit of doing that is, my God, it's tenfold down the road. You know, it's an investment. It's like going out and working your garden for the next crop. This is why I keep going back to the garden analogy. So the sooner you do this, once you've high graded it and you don't have any more grade, or you only got a few grade trees per acre, you can't manage that anymore. Just flatten it and start it over. So this is where the foresters need to get off their little pudgy pink asses and say, hey, look, this is true. This is what has to happen. If you want us to oversee it, you get a guy like Reynolds, or you get a guy like John Britton out there, chipper guy. You get some reputable people who, you know, can show you a list of satisfied customers that, you know, we're not a bunch of thieves, or we're not a bunch of fly-by-nights, and we'll do things right. Then, as a forester, here's what you can do. All right? You go ahead and get 10% of that sale off of the landowner, right? Okay. Great. Well, that's not a lot of money, Reynolds. On a 100-acre piece, you're only going to pay $20. That's $2,000. Okay. So guess what? Run in, freshen up the boundaries. Maybe you got a day in that, okay? You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do nothing, but if you want, I'll send you the money and you disperse it to the landowner. Or I'll just send the landowner and they pay you, or however you want to do it. I've even done, you know, deals where, hey, the landowner pays half the forester and I pay the other half, or if we're doing in-house without a forester, I'm eating all the forestry charges. So the landowner would benefit from the extra $2,000 instead of having a forester involved. But all I'm getting at is I don't need to work against the forester, okay? I'm going to say what needs to be said because it's the truth. But I will work with foresters. You get your cut. You don't have to do anything. You just don't have to do anything. It's a win-win for everybody. Get me the boundaries in. If you want to go handle the contractual part of it and get your 10% out of it or whatever, that's fine. You can. But what are you going to have in that? A day? You know, really, a day? 2 days, maybe? You make a couple $1,000. And then go on to another project and line something up for me. And as I do them, I'll pay the commission on them. It would be a win-win for everybody. And my thing is getting over the hurdle of, we need to change the attitude about this stuff. You know, we need, because I've had it getting back to me. Oh, he cuts everything. Oh, he rapes and and it pisses me off because I'm doing what needs to be done. Sorry, ain't no different than a doctor. You go into a doctor with a rotten leg, gangrenous leg up to your knee, and he wants to put a Band-Aid on your toe because he knows you don't want to hear that your leg has to come off. Well, what kind of a professional is that? No, you know what? Sit down, brace yourself, because here's the ugly truth. I got to lob your friggin' leg off at the knee or you're going to die. Well, this is how desperate of a situation a lot of these forests are in. It's like, there's trees, it's pretty to look at, but they're almost worthless. So, if you want to grow a new crop of timber for your heirs, then you know what? Sit down, brace yourself. It needs to be whacked. It needs to be clear cut, or damn near clear cut, and restart it. And then, here's another opportunity for the forester. If you're a forester, if you're the general contractor, right, for that landowner, then line up people to come in and, hey, this year we need to do $2,000 or $3,000 worth of maintenance work with a chainsaw or a skill saw, you know, one of them little, whatever you call them, weed whacker saws. Either you as the forester could do it, or if you don't want to do it, hire somebody and get 10% of that for managing it. I don't understand why this is such a foreign concept. To me, it would work for everybody. And if you were a forester and you had multiple thousands of acres or hundreds and hundreds of acres, you'd have a nice little steady income coming in, and all you'd have to do is oversee it. You wouldn't even have to mark timber or anything, because that part of it's gone. I mean, we know enough to leave some good crop trees. We know enough to leave the wolf trees, you know, den tree. I don't need anybody, some little college-educated babysitter to come in. You know, what do you got? A friggin' can of paint and a computer and a pickup truck? I got a couple $1 million worth of iron going, dude. What do you think? I want to do it wrong? You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. I mean, it's just stupid. We need to get in line and work together on this stuff. Now, whether it'll happen, I don't know. I've seen it happen in some because I never shut my mouth. You know what I mean? I just keep bah, 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 bah. So I see it happening in my area. I just see a lot of landowners realizing that the forest that they'd hired before just high graded it, and then they call them back. You want to do another cut? Well, there's really nothing I can do with that. Well, why? You effed it up. Well, one of your compadres did. Fix it. So whatever. The other issue, I was going to address something else, but I get on my friggin' rabbit trails here. But anyway, that's part of the issue that I wanted to address is I don't really have a problem selling the stuff. You know, the problem is, and I think NJ Blanche, I think you said about taking the landowners in and show them. Oh, I do that all the time. And I buy a lot of my wood that way. You know, we take them in and show, look, I mean, there's a log tree there and a log tree there. And then you plot off a half an acre. Literally, you can plot it off, just put a ribbon, you know, estimate a half an acre. And say, can you walk around with me? And I'll show you what I mean, you know. And there's just nothing left. You take those 2 good grade trees that left from before, or 4 good grade trees, there's just nothing but absolute garbage. That'll never make nothing but bigger garbage. And they're like, oh, wow. Wow, I didn't realize this, you know. So it's not, it's foresters can do the same thing. They're going to have to, because they're burning themselves out of any sustainable work by just high grading the heck out of everything. And you can't blame the sawmills either, because sawmills want grade logs, okay? So you as a landowner need to know that going in. A sawmill is not a chip plant. A sawmill is a sawmill. You know, just like Tater down there, they need to run saw logs, grade saw logs through that mill. That's how they make their livelihood. So it isn't up to the sawmill to manage your property. You as a landowner need to start looking into this yourself. Okay, put your big boy panties on, take a walk around, get yourself a little $10 tree book on Amazon. You know, species in my area. You know what I mean, and find out what your money trees are, and look at it. And learn it. And you can walk around, you can manage your own forest. But if you don't have time, you want to get a good forester in. But these are the things that need to start to be talking about. We need to do these correction cuts. And like I said before, I'm your best friend when it comes. I'm equipped to do it. That's what we do, you know. And there are other loggers too. So, and then let the cable guys, let the guys with the chainsaw and the cable skidder, let them go cut the big stuff and make some money. They can't make any money cutting poles. And I mean, it sucks. Ask Old School. He buys nice timber. And yeah, there's plenty of that needs to be done. But when these pieces have been cut, high graded a couple of times, I'm telling you, time to hit the reset button. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. I'll try and get this video up today. Ta-ta, guys. Have a wonderful Sunday.